Good evening, wonderful people, great Biafrans, wherever you are on the face of this very planet. We welcome you to an exciting edition, hopefully, of Radio Biafra Address, our live presentation from the Holy Land of Israel. I must apologize for our late coming because the enemies are at it once again. They are well resourced and they are determined. They do not want the propagation of this very divine gospel on this hallowed platform of Radio Biafra. But we have overcome them because this gospel must be preached as mandated by Elohim. I welcome you, and as I do so, I will encourage you to welcome those who are around you. The time here now is approximately 24 minutes past the top of the hour, and this is Radio Biafra. My name is Nnamdi Kanu. I am the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra by the grace of Elohim, not by man. Therefore, Biafra must come because we have suffered enough. We have been discriminated against enough. We have been humiliated enough. We have been disgraced enough. That to the point where we no longer have men, we no longer have people who can rise and speak up, except IPOB. That is why we must continue to preach this very gospel. We must continue to preach it. Because Chukwokika Biama have sent us on this very mission, and we must accomplish it regardless of the price and regardless of the cost. Everything humanly possible will be sacrificed to ensure that Biafra comes as decreed by the Most High. This evening we've been disrupted, we have been interrupted, but I do hope that my Deputy Chairman is working tirelessly hard to ensure we overcome this technical glitch. Therefore, can I go ahead to announce that we are on Radio Biafra Live? Is that confirmed that we're live on Radio Biafra page? We are on Radio Biafra Facebook page. We are also live on my page, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Make sure you're on the right one, because I know our enemies are very good at duplicating anything that we are doing in order to confuse the gullible. But we know the hardcore are determined, and we must proceed. Before we do so, we must hand over our proceedings to Chukwukika Biama, Onye Purimi ihe niile, without whom and in whom we repose every ounce of our essence and our being, that His grace will continue to guide us along this very tortuous and treacherous journey, that in the end that Biafra may become emancipated. We must pray, and this evening I will pray the prayer of David. I will pray Psalm 6 before we commence our broadcast this evening. And I will pray in English, that the world may understand, including those who are very close to Chief Justice Onogen, that the Fulani Islamic cabal are angling very hard to remove from office. After this broadcast this evening, everybody from Cross River, from Akwa Ibom, you will recognize this very inescapable fact that our Fulani is against you. Only Biafra can save you. I told you to Stonoyen. It has happened. They don't want him there. They want INEC to be controlled by our Fulani. They want the Justice Department to be Fulani, Army Fulani, Police Fulani, Customs Fulani, Defense Chief Fulani, everything Fulanized. Everything is Fulani. Anybody from Efik, from Ibibio, from Anang, from Oron, if you rise up against Biafra after what they have done to Onoyen, then I will know that you're not deserving to be called a human being. Some people from the Yoruba land want the presidency because of that. They will not speak up against evil. But there are a few honorable, noble Yoruba men that will continue to speak. And they will continue to have my regard, my respect, and my support. Because evil is evil. I do not want to get ahead of myself. Let Chukwokika Abiyama take control. O Elohim, rebuke us not in your anger, neither chasten us in thy hot displeasure. Ekwekwala ka iwe gabigo kenebo moge no Chineke nna nke igwe ka m sụọ asụsụ eluigwe. Onye pụrụ m ihe niile, onye anyị na-efe wee na-akpọku aha nsọ ya, Chineke nna nke eri, Chineke nna nke arọ dị, Chineke nna nke ara eli, onye na-adịgide ma ruo mgbe ebighị ebi. Ndị gboo na-etughị ebighị ebi n'ihi ụwa n'ihi na anyị emeghị onye ọzọ ma ọ bụghị naanị gị. Mma dịrị gị Chineke nna nke igwe, mma dịrị gị onye kere eluigwe n'ụwa. Please have mercy upon us, O Elohim, for we are weak. Come and heal your land, which is Biafra, for our bones are vexed. The enemies are everywhere. They are arresting, they are molesting, they are killing, and they are detaining without trial. Your children are living under a fascist system that does not recognize the value of human life. Return to us, Chineke nna nke pụrụ m ihe niile. Deliver Biafra. Save IPOB for the sake of your mercy. For if you kill all of us, who is going to remember your name in the darkest continent that is Africa? Your light will be diminished. Your blessing upon the house of God will be gone forever. And your promise to a field. Because in the grave there is none that can praise thee. None can give thee thanks. For we are weary with our suffering and our groaning. Every night we dream tortuous dreams, and we swim in our own sweat. Tears fill our eyes because of what the enemies are doing to your children. Our soul, our heart is consumed with grief. Because of our enemies, we have grown old in our youth. Therefore, all workers of iniquity must depart from Biafra. For Elohim this very night has heard our supplication. He has heard our cry. And this prayer this evening from the Holy Land of Israel to the whole world shall be received in the presence of the Almighty. All the enemies of Biafra will be ashamed. All our enemies will be ashamed. They will fall, never to rise anymore. They will grope in the dark like the blind, and the rage of heaven shall descend upon all of them. That your will, O Elohim, Chukwokika Abiyama, will be done in our lifetime. That your name be exalted, praised, adored, and worshipped forever and ever, we pray. Ise, Ise, Ise. Ikechukwu is with me here in the studio. And as I said earlier, we are going to be interactive. I hope you have all the details for the contact of the studio here in Israel. I will take your questions. Any question you put to me, I will answer it If you want to debate me, you are welcome to do so. I will not hide nor run away from any question. I am not Jubril. My name is Nnamdi Kanu. Buhari is dead. They can pretend all they like, but it has become very apparent that the reason why the Yoruba media will not talk about the impostor in Asorok is because they are waiting for the presidency. Everything is about oil and gas. Who occupies the high office? Who can give us more money? That is all they are concerned about. But we are pursuing something far more noble, something far more righteous, something that every right-thinking person ought to identify with. But IPOB is here. I cannot praise IPOB enough. It is a unique privilege. If you find yourself in IPOB, you are indeed a child of the Most High, Chukwokika Abiyama. You are a child of light. You have come to bring progress. You have come to bring the finest kind of blessing upon our people. You are indeed a gift from heaven. Never you forget that IPOB is exceptionally special. That is why when we are gone, there will be nobody like us. Never, ever, ever. And that is why Elohim has determined that Biafra shall come in our time. We must proceed. The time now is about 25 minutes to 8 p.m. here in Israel. And this is my address to the entirety of humanity on this very day, the 12th of January in the year of Chukwokika Abiyama 2019. My fellow good citizens of Biafra, my fellow compatriots, my fellow hardcore IPOB, I bring you greetings from Israel. Today's broadcast will be characteristically very brief, and we shall deal directly with Governor Dave Umahi's false but very weighty allegation that IPOB is plotting to kidnap the 5 useless governors of Southeast, plus his claim that Ebonyi is not part of Biafra. I will also be addressing the issue of our election boycott stance and why we must follow everything that IPOB commands us to do. It is on record that several newspaper publications of the last weekend quoted Dave Umahi as saying, this is a direct quote from him, just a few days back they sent text message to my wife that the 5 governors of Southeast would be kidnapped and that IPOB security would overpower those governors and demand ransom payment from them. They will then kill them and kill themselves. This is what Dave Umahi said, thereby trying to justify Operation Python Dance. I don't know if it is the 50th one or the 70th one. I have no idea. This is Dave Umahi, a governor in Igbo land, trying to justify the killing of his own people. This is Dave Umahi trying to justify the arrest, kidnap, detention, and torture of Justice Uday and the rest that they have managed to abduct. Now, as any right-thinking person reading the above claim from Umahi will see for what it is. It is a barefaced lie from a man who made his life before he became governor from duping and lying to people. This is a man that has long sold his conscience and his people in the vain hope that this discredited, Jubril-led APC cabal he serves will support him to run for the presidency of the damnable Zoological Republic in 2023. This, unfortunately, is the sum of the political worth of any Igbo Biafran politician who finds himself fortunate enough to be elected into the position of the governor of any of our states. They don't go there to serve you. They go there to feather their nests, to sell us down the river, and hopefully become a vice president. They don't have our interest at heart, and they will never love us. Once they're elected into office, they set their very tiny minds on becoming the vice president of Nigeria. There is no other reasonable motivation or explanation as to why Dave Umahi, like his now disgraced and abandoned counterpart in Imo, Rochas Okorocha, have, since coming into office, demonstrated his proclivity. Demonstrated his character towards sabotaging anything Biafra, as Okorocha did, and sabotaging every effort made by IPOB to emancipate our people from the bondage we are being forced to endure in Nigeria. That Dave Umahi had resorted to banding unfounded accusations against a universally acknowledged non-violent movement goes to demonstrate a new low in Umahi's hate and betrayal of his own people. All for his hopeless ambition that the APC Fulani cabal he serves, its interest, will somehow foolishly grant him presidency in 2023 as he boasted to Pastor Emma Opai. If you doubt what I'm saying, ask Pastor Emma Opai. You know him, he's a very popular preacher. He's a man of God. Go and ask him, did Dave Umahi confide in you that Jubril and Asorok cabal promised him that he will be the president come 2023? That is why he's in PDP, working for a very murderous APC regime. Unbelievable. Because they have no honor and they have no shame. This is pathetic. If the Fulani cabal and some of their Yoruba sidekicks did not find it in their good conscience to trust the revered Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe with the presidency of Nigeria, or allow their loyal, unblemished servant, who incidentally formed PDP, Dr. Alex Ekwueme, the right to contest for that position. What planet is Dave Umahi living on to assume that Fulani will give the presidency to him? Zeke fought more than anybody else to keep Nigeria one. Ekwueme did the same thing. They overlooked those two grandees, intelligent, well-educated men that meant also well for Nigeria. How about you, a former 419er? You think Fulani will trust you with the presidency? That is why you invite the army to kill your own people. And on top of that, you go about fabricating arrant nonsense against the peace-loving IPOB. A man with no record of any notable public stewardship or service to his people will always see groveling and subservience to the primitively uncultured Fulani cabal as the only way to advance his hitherto non-remarkable political ambitions. Like Martin Elechi before him, who incidentally handed power over to him about 4 years ago. The anti-Biafra he is now espousing in the hope of endearing himself to the caliphate may have worked for Martin Elechi, who worked hand in hand with the notorious and treacherous Biasika, who was only rewarded with the administration of the defunct East Central State immediately after the war because of the excellent saboteur work that he did to undermine Biafra from his base in Yoruba land when he was a lecturer at the University of Ibadan. There is now a tradition that these so-called politicians follow. A few Igbo men publicly betraying Biafra, either in their utterances or on the pages of newspapers, is a well-trodden path that comes with political reward. If you betray your people, Fulani will reward you. That is what they have done. Just name them, just name each and every one of them before you are considered for any lucrative contract or for any political position. You must be a traitor against your own people. They come to us and they want us to call them intellectuals and elite intelligentsia. They are a bunch of slaves groveling at the feet of Fulani men who are not educated enough to be their own gardeners. Not educated enough. But you see them begging for crumbs from the master's table because they do not believe in themselves, because they believe that treachery and betrayal pays. But Dave Umahi is in for a shock. A very big shock. Ever since Biasika's betrayal of his people, since that betrayal proved successful and conveyed this impression to our people that betrayal pays, countless traitors have benefited and continue to benefit from this shameful arrangement because there are no consequences or sanctions for their actions. This is the inglorious company. Therefore, my Okezibazo, Niawodo, Rochaso, Korochato, and many other bootlicking, self-deprecating Igbo quislings domiciled in Lagos and Abuja are seeking to join. Anybody who is against the freedom of our people is a treacherous Fulani slave. All of them. All of them, up to and including Soludo. I give you names and I give you instances. Do you know that Professor Soludo is working with Obiano to re-elect Jubril? Are you aware of that? They are the so-called Igbo intelligentsia. But a Fulani girl selling Fura Dununu is more politically savvy than them. They don't know anything. They feel that by betraying their own people, their own brother, somehow they will climb this ladder of success to becoming a vice president in the zoo called Nigeria. If you know what these men are doing behind our backs, believe you me, you will hang yourselves. They are a disgrace, not just to themselves, not just to their parents, but to the entire Biafran people and the Igbo race in particular. I am telling you, go and investigate all of them and see what they're doing because of money. We can all see what the recent advertised visit of Ohaneze youths, Omoaka, they trained them very young, to betray their people. To betray their people, that is their stock in trade. They have been doing it since 1970 till now. After one Ohaneze group, another one will take over. Now they're even grooming the tiny ones, showing them how to betray, how to serve Fulani. They wore Isiago to go and see Jubril, a man from Sudan. Unbelievable. Tomorrow they will make them a minister, or they give them one other useless position. The idiot will come to the village and tell you that he's an Igbo elite. Do you see how they climb their own ladder of elitism? You fall down before a very filthy Alhaji, bedecked with Arabian oil perfume, who can barely read and write. Submit yourself to him and you get what you want, as befitting a slave. That is what your so-called Igbo leaders are doing in Abuja and in Lagos. That is why, even in retirement, they decide to reside in Lagos or Abuja. Ask yourselves this question this evening: how many Yoruba elders live in Biafra land? How many Fulani or how many Awoza live in Biafra land after their retirement age? It is only our people that believe that by living in Abuja or Lagos, they can remain relevant because they are slaves to their masters. When their masters come, they go crawling. Now you understand the mess we are in. You understand why they want us to vote. You understand why they attack anything to do with Biafra. Because they don't want their slavish past exposed. Because their masters threaten them that any of them found supporting anything that will bring a semblance of relief to the long-suffering people of Biafra, their secret will be exposed. That is why behind your back they say, oh, we want to do something, but, you know, Ohaneze youths went to see Jubril in Nasser Rock. Despite what this administration have done to our people, the killings at Mpo, the killings in Aba, Iguacha, Mbama River, in Bayelsa, the countless torture, detention, illegal arrest without trial that we are facing, those shot to death during Trump rally at Iguacha, these children decided to go to the same person responsible for killing their people to beg for money. And they were given money, 5 million naira. Who sent them? Ohaneze, their father, sent them. Niyawot and Co sent them. They have no shame, they have no honor. If Niyawot can kneel down before Bola Ahmed Tinubu to beg for office, what wouldn't they do? And I'm very happy that our people have now shunned Niyawot. They have seen him for what he is. He is a nobody. Look at the children he's bringing up. Look at the children he is bringing up and their attitude towards their own people. Everything is to sabotage. Everything should be sold. No conscience. No honor. No dignity. After the genocidal massacre of our people at Mpo, Aba, Onisha in recent years, they still found or had the temerity to go and see Jubril. They have no conscience. As small as they are, they have no conscience. Imagine what they will do when they grow old. They will be worse than Ohaneze. Worse than Ohaneze. I remember what we used to listen to in those days when I was at SBS in Iguacha, School of Basic Studies. That's a song they used to play then, an intro, kind of a jingle on anybody. If you're old enough to know Radio Reverse to FM Stereo, the finest radio station then in the whole world, bar none. They said a cricket will be burning and they'll be saying, see how beautiful the body looks because of the oil all over the body. You don't know the damn thing is roasting to death. That is what Ohaneze and the baby saboteurs they are grooming have done to our people, including the governors. They have destroyed our people completely. These Ohaneze children, there is a saying where we come from. You know, the baby goat always looks at the mother goat to see how the mother goat is chewing, and then learns. If the mother goat goes to the yam, to the barn to go and eat the yam, the baby goat will follow as well. That is what is happening in Ohaneze. Ohaneze and Igbo have taught their children that the quickest route to political relevance for any Igbo man is to go and kneel in front of an Alhaji. Now you understand why they want to kill me. Because I refused to join them. I will not diminish nor debase my Biafran essence by kneeling and bowing before people who actually be in the same country with in the first place. Ohaneze and Igbo governors will kneel before Fulani people. Not IPOB. They will do anything for money and influence, which sadly translates to how they see others. People like us, who are genuinely fighting to set our people free. You know, in the warped minds of these discredited politicians like Dave Umahi and Nyamudo, in their rather very twisted way of reasoning, they think because they are shamelessly ambitious and will do anything to gain relevance in Nigeria, that I am somehow like them. I am fighting for Biafra, not for the zoo. How mistaken they are. Recall that it was Umahi Okezipas and Nyamudo, ever so envious of the rising profile of IPOB, that fired the first salvo on the proscription of IPOB, which Umahi incidentally admitted. Umahi led the way to that infamy before his other Southeast governors, his colleagues, joined him. Umahi was later to pressure the Nigerian government to proscribe IPOB and declare it a terrorist organization. This is by his own admission. It was Umahi who also led the shameless and very perfidious pack of Southeast governors to acquiesce in the September 2017 invasion of Igbo land, all in the name of some Python dance. Put very simply, it was Dave Umahi, in his capacity as the chair of the Southeast Governors Forum, that sanctioned the cold-blooded execution of Biafrans as a result of that very illegal invasion of Biafra land by the Fulani-dominated Nigerian army. By sanctioning the military invasion of my home, Dave Umahi Okezipazu Nyamudo signed my death warrant. They wanted me dead. And we lost 28 men in the process. Never forget that. We lost 28 men. Don't forget. Only in my compound alone. And many more killed and dumped in a borrow pit in Okwa. They think we have forgotten. We can never, ever forget or forgive for what they did to our people, for what they have continued to do to our people. We cannot allow this ravenous, shameless breed of politicians to continue to dominate our lives any longer because of their proximity to their Fulani masters. Dave Umahi, Okezipazu, and the other governors, they have no credibility in our land. That is why they always run to Fulani people to help them. If you claim the people love you, you represent your people, you are an Igbo politician, you represent your people. Why don't you allow your people to save you? Why don't you call upon our people to defend you if you feel your life is threatened? It's because you have something to hide. They are exploiting the poverty in the land to try and hoodwink our people into voting them back into power when they know they have no right to be there. By now, I would have been dead, and so with it, this phase of our agitation, had they succeeded in killing me. Anytime you think about Dave Umahi, you think about Okezi Bazo, you think about Onyawodo, you think about Obiano, always remember that they came to kill me. They asked the Fulani to do the dirty work for them, to come to kill as many IPOB family members as possible. And tomorrow they run to Yoruba newspapers to tell them that they are the elite and they are leading their people, whilst behind their backs, the Fulani are laughing at them. These are those that some people want us to regard as our leaders. If anybody should be accused of kidnapping and murder, it is Dave Umahi and his fellow Fulani serving traitors, not IPOB. Dave Umahi, Okezi, Pazo, and Ohaneze leadership that wanted me killed and IPOB crushed. What did we do, I ask? Did we kill anybody? We repaired roads. We helped those who were not able to help themselves. We gave our people a sense of direction and of hope. Why is it that nobody is asking all these Southeast governors why they wanted to kill Nnamdi Kanu and why they wanted IPOB out of the way? It's because it's what their Fulani masters are telling them to do. The Fulani made them. Fulani gave them their contracts, their money, elevated them, promoted them, gave them appointments. So they must always be subservient to the Fulani Caliphate. People, some of our people don't know the level of the mess we are in. People don't have any clue or any idea. But I'm sure it manifests when you walk about our towns and our villages. It's very obvious that we are in one almighty mess as a people, which IPOB, of course, is seeking to correct. Dave Umahi and leadership cannot crush IPOB and they cannot kill me. Many times they boasted about having successfully crushed IPOB, but thankfully, Chukwu Okike never allowed them to succeed. We continue to hold the present crop of Igbo governors and Nyanwodo primarily responsible for the ongoing arrests, torture, abductions, murder, and illegal detention of Biafrans. We are holding you responsible. I have said it before and I'll say it again. If anything, if any Biafran should fall in this very process, then you will understand how serious we are. Ask those that know, they know. Accusing someone, a group of high-profile kidnapping on a grand scale, as alleged by Umahi, knows this, which is why he levied his accusations publicly and noisily, hoping to stoke another round of state terrorism against IPOB. I have warned him before and I'll warn him again. If anything should happen to any of our men, our people are hereby placed on notice. Whatever they see, they should blame Umahi and go for it. Umahi will face the consequences of his actions on a scale that will astound many. They will never be forgiven. As simple as that. One day Fulani will go and leave our land, regardless of anything you may try to do. To the contrary, Biafra will be free. Now, to Umahi's other foolish, self-serving claim that Ebonyi is not part of Biafra, I say to him this: you can dream on all you like. You specialized in 419 before you came into governance. So perhaps you are not a very good student of history. But allow me to remind you and refresh your memory You remember a particular man named Dr. Akanu EBM. I recommend, in fact, I highly suggest that you read his autobiography if you haven't read it already. Go and read it. From there, you will begin to understand that Ebonyi is an integral part of Biafra. Some of your predecessors may have conspired to hive off 3 local governments to Benue, but they shall all return to the fold of this very family. You claim you love Igbo people, you claim you are serving Ebonyi people, but you and your predecessors superintended the carving out of Ebonyi land into Benue. Or you will claim ignorance of this very fact, as you do always. Ebonyi was an integral and important part of Biafra from when it was the eastern region to when Biafra became a sovereign state in 1967. Ebonyi remains part of Biafra to this very day and even lies in the heartland of Biafra, as a matter of fact. If Omahi doubts this, let him conduct an opinion poll in his state. He will be shocked that every person in Ebonyi is a Biafran to the core. And they have, through their identification with IPOB ideals, freed themselves from the mental slavery that continues to plague Omahi just because he happens to be a governor in a Nigerian nation that is damaged enough to produce the dysfunctional politician like him. If by uttering this sacrilegious nonsense Omahi hopes to gain Fulani acceptability in 2023, then he is misguided and naive. He should look carefully at another Fulani slave, Fulani-born slave, Rochas Okorocha, to see how the North dealt with the Igbo traitor that's betrayed his own people. Ordinary Oshomole from Edo, not even a Fulani man, disgraced him and humiliated him publicly. As I told some of you many years ago, you serve the zoo, you come back in disgrace. The same thing is happening to Onogen tonight. They want to dominate. Oh, if cross river out of Biafra, you want to dominate us. Now that Fulani have removed Onogen, what are you going to do about it? Nothing. Because the only people that can fight for you, all of us together as Biafra, Fulani have that could have done something to save you. The lessons they should have learned from the case of Ken Saro-Wiwa is still not sinking in. The same people that claim they loved Ken Saro-Wiwa so much, who love Ogoni people, are the same people that killed him. Not an Igbo man. But they will never learn. Never ever learn. I wonder. I wonder. A few years back, all of you remember, the talk of the town was Awasa Fulani favorite son in Imo State, government house, Rochas Okorocha, becoming the president of Nigeria. Now, what has become of him today? Dave Umahi must ask himself this question. Serving Fulani will only bring you shame and humiliation. Not only has Rochas Okorocha not been discarded of the leadership of his party, he has been rendered politically irrelevant by a non-entity like Oshomole. This is the fate actually that awaits every traitor. You will all come back in disgrace. Umahi and his fellow Fulani slaves never invited the army to tackle the menace of Fulani headsmen, still ravaging most of our communities still today. I am firmly convinced that the orchestrated clampdown on IPOB is a way for Igbo governors to clear the way for Fulani cows to graze on our farmlands. For most of our parents, farming is the only means of livelihood. After Obafemi Awolowo took all our money, deposited in the bank after the war. The question you must ask yourselves tonight, in case we get ready to play that very clip for me. The question we have to ask tonight is, why is it that Umahi, Ikpeazu, Obiano, Ohaneze, and the rest of the pontificating Lagos Abuja-based traitors, why did you not invite the army to stop the massacre at Nimbo? Enugu State was under siege by Fulani men. You were calling everybody, they refused to take your calls. Ask Ifan Ugwan, he will tell you. Then, you did not stop Fulani headsmen from coming in, destroying our farms and killing us and raping our mothers. But you want the army to kill IPOB. Now, let us ask this, what did IPOB do to you? Because we are defending our land against Fulani headsmen. Please, let us remind the world what is happening in Biafra land today. We want to hear the voice of this, our mother. Are you ready? Please go ahead.
Good morning. Morning, Namu. Okay, keep a better one. I don't know what I can say. Even if I'm going to go on any, I can't say I can't go. Mama. I'm Maria. Mama, my car is on in never go. Men have been destroying their crops. Whatever they have cultivating, planting men. All those people.
I'm sure you heard our mother crying and lamenting about it. I want all our admin to make sure that that very video clip goes viral. Her name is Mrs. Nnadi, so she's not hiding. If you want her to testify before anybody, I'm saying this for the benefit of Yoruba journalists and media, because they are experts at turning the truth upside down. Do you see what we are suffering? Do you know the reason why Fulani headsmen succeeded in penetrating our land to destroy our crops? Clear the path for them. So if we come out to confront Fulani headsmen, they will kill us and say we are terrorists. This is happening in our land. And some idiots are preoccupied with writing rubbish on social media. Instead of us to ask ourselves very pertinent questions, why are all these things happening to our people? Why is it that those we have elected into public office to serve our interest have somehow turned around to connive with our enemies, to destroy us, to destroy our means of livelihood, to make us subservient to Fulani people, when the reason why we elected them in the first place is to protect us? Dave Umahi and Okezi Ikpeazu cannot answer this very question. Will any restitution be paid to this very woman? The answer is no. The livelihood destroyed. Maybe perhaps out of desperation, the son will try to go to Europe, on foot of course, through the Sahara Desert. And heaven forbid, he might die in the process. And nobody cares. Nobody gives a damn about what is happening to our people. The only people that care enough to ask questions and working tirelessly hard to redress all these anomalies imposed by traitors. What do we get in return? The same governors invite the army to come back into office, or Dave Umahi for that matter, back into office. We are going to give them hell. We are, I assure you. Because we said we're not going to vote doesn't mean we cannot mobilize to have you voted out of office. That's what's going to happen in Abia. We can make the exception. Because perhaps if we keep quiet all the time, they think, oh, since they're not going to vote, I mean, does it really matter? They will have a very special program for Abia and also for Ebonyi. They will find it difficult. I'm telling you. Nobody's asking. I feel very, very sad this evening. They have not proscribed Fulani headsmen that invaded our land with their cattle and AK-47, destroyed our crops, raped our mothers, and killed our fathers in our farms. Can somebody please tell me the logic in that? Have you ever heard an Igbo governor rise up to speak or condemn Fulani headsmen activities in our land? The answer is no. The day our people can wake up to reason well enough to understand the damage the likes of Umahi is doing to our people, the sooner it is better for us to get rid of them from the corridors of power. Mrs. Nnaji's lamentation is a reminder of what our mothers who depend on farm produce for sustenance is passing through at the hands of Igbo governors. I don't blame the headsmen, I blame the Igbo governors. Fulani headsmen with their cattle destroyed, every crop in her farm with no hope of compensation. IPOB family members. In the meantime, Fulani headsmen continue to destroy, pillage, kill, while Efulefus are preoccupied with writing nonsense against IPOB, advising us when they should be advising their useless governors to do something about the rampaging Fulani headsmen in our land. We checkmated them. IPOB stopped Fulani headsmen. Now the army have come again. And they have resurfaced because the nearest army barracks will rush to their rescue, or should I say, come to their rescue when they commence their attack. Why is it that people cannot reason? Why can't we reason as a people? They thought by running down my name they could create problems for IPOB. There is something they keep saying all the time that I've been informed in the past few days, that I entered into agreement with and I reneged on it. But the truth is that their plan was to use me and I refused to be part of their nonsense. Okezi Bazo had the temerity to say that I don't keep to agreements, but he forgot that I have never met him in my life before. Talk less of agreeing anything with him. I have never met Okezi Bazo before. He lives about, say, 1,000 meters from my house. That's where the government house is. I've never met him before in my entire life. I don't know who he is. I have never met him. Tonight I want to put to bed this perverse notion that I don't keep to agreements. When I left prison, Kuje prison, the first people I met were Southeast Senate caucus. They hosted me to a dinner at the residence of the Deputy Senate President, T.K. Kweremadu. I graciously accepted the invitation out of respect for the role some of them played in calling for my release from detention and the fact that Senator Baribe stood shorty for me. At that gathering, I was advised to keep a low profile and not to do anything to jeopardize the well-being of those who were still in detention. This was an advice, not an agreement, as some of them would have you believe. It was an advice I felt in all clear conscience I couldn't keep, because I felt that restricting my God-given rights to free speech and assembly was not something I was going to sacrifice for the sake of appearing to be an obedient, good Nigerian. They forgot that I'm not Rafo Wazirike, and I was determined that IPOB will never go the way of Masop. I was never going to let Biafrans down or allow myself or the great IPOB, which I lead, to become a toy for politicians, as Masop has become. My bail conditions were a cleverly constructed trap designed to weaken and destabilize IPOB, which sadly had the imprint of internal Igbo political meddling. Had I maintained radio silence as was expected of me, People would think that I had compromised the struggle and not a man of my words. When I was asked not to speak during my court appearances, I broke that very protocol and I addressed the media. Nobody can stop me from talking. Nobody can stop me from speaking. That would never ever happen. I met Southeast governors on around late August, early September of 2017, before they decided to send soldiers to kill me on the 14th of September of that same year. Those that attended that very meeting will confirm that I never reached any agreement with anybody present at that very meeting to lift the Anambra election boycott. I made it clear to Dave Umahi, who incidentally was chairing the meeting, and all those present at Enugu Government House, that Abuja, I made it very clear that Aso Rock must make concessions to our demands before I call off the boycott. If I reached an agreement with them to call off the boycott, then why did they send the soldiers to come and kill me barely 2 weeks afterwards, when Anambra elections was to hold in November of that same year? You can see that this accusation is baseless and false, like so many of their unfounded lies against me. On the issue of Nyamodo, most people do not know that I visited his home twice. The first time he was in the USA, I spoke to him on the phone, and we agreed to meet upon his return. When he returned, I went to see him. We had lunch together in his house, and I agreed that I will continue the agitation for Biafra while they continue to engage with the government to see what can be done to address the underlying causes of our agitation. I made it clear to him that I will not lift the boycott unless my demands are met by the government. He promised to do the best he can and get back to me, which he never did. The limited attempt by the zoo Vice President Yemi Osibanjo to reach IPOB was truncated by Ohaneze and Igbo governors, because I made it very clear from the onset that nobody will negotiate for IPOB. I refused for them to negotiate for IPOB. They went back and tagged us. They tagged us terrorists, but first by banning all our activities. But they know they cannot stop us, because till today we're still evangelizing, today we're still gathering, till today we are still rallying, because Biafra is our land. Once they realized that I wasn't going to move from my position, the hatred against me and IPOB was intensified. They started to gossip with my name all over the place. They started to plant very subtle stories in the media that I don't stick to agreements. And I kept asking them, which agreement did I reach with you, and where did I reach this agreement with you? They know I have no intention of breaking my vows to my people. And if me sticking to my pledge to serve the best interest of Biafra means that I'm a man that doesn't keep the agreements, then so be it. Because Biafra for me comes first. Some of you will remember when I did a broadcast and I said that I will sacrifice everything sacrificable to make sure that Biafra comes. And I have done it. My family and my parents. I will sacrifice more to ensure that Biafra comes. People must understand this about me. Biafra is the only thing that is important to me. Everything else is irrelevant. I repeat, the only thing important to me in life is Biafra. Everything else is immaterial, including my own life, for your information. It is this sort of nonsense coming from shifty characters like Umahi that helps strengthen IPOB's determination to boycott the 2019 general elections. But it does appear that our non-participation, on the other hand, has emboldened the likes of Umahi and other traitors to keep destroying what is left of our land. That is why an exception must be made in Abia and in Ebonyi. In Abia and in Ebonyi, we must make an example of these people to tell them that power belongs to IPOB. How we're going to do that, I will let you know as time goes by. IPOB is not backing down on the boycott. The presidential elections will be boycotted so that the world may know that we are in charge of our land, that our people are yearning for freedom, that our people want to be free. from the shackles of oppression and subjugation by the Nigerian state. Nobody loves us. They can never love us. They don't love the Igbo people. They don't love Efik. They don't love Indizon. Nothing. Nobody cares about you. If you don't care about yourself, nobody will care about you. If you doubt me, look at what is happening to the Chief Justice of the Federation. Onogan is in very serious trouble because Fulanis don't want him, and there is nothing anybody can do about it. The same way we are all impotent. They are holding Dasuki. Despite court pronouncements, they are holding El Zagzagi, despite court pronouncements, because there is no moral fiber in Nigeria. The entire system is corrupt. All Yoruba media is interested in is for the president to come back to Yoruba land so that Tinubu can become the president in 2023. That's all that matters to them. They don't care. They don't know what democracy is all about. They have no idea what democracy is all about. In the past few years, I think IPOB has proven that there are other centers of influence and power in the Southeast and parts of South-South, and they know that very well. And as the success of our sit-at-home orders have demonstrated, we constitute the core of that power and influence and intend to deploy it responsibly to the protection of the long-term interests of our people by accelerating the coming of Biafra through a referendum or otherwise. So this current path we have chosen, the path of boycotting the 2019 elections, is a well-considered one, geared to leaving no one in doubt that we mean business. We know that some of our people are wondering what IPOB expects to gain when it refuses to participate in elections. That is why we are going to have our lines open in a short while, so we can debate this very issue. So I can answer all your questions. You know, I never run away from any debate. Those that know me, I never do. I never do. If you defeat me with a spirit argument, I'll go with you. I am keenly aware that at first, the logic of a boycott makes little sense to many people. Some have said that by participating in elections, IPOB will have a chance of helping to elect politicians amenable to self-determination and ultimately a referendum. Well, that's true, but only in theory, where things work. In practice, experience has shown that votes hardly count in Nigeria. And where they may count, we have not yet seen any candidate willing to commit to the changes that we are demanding, such that the boycott could be reconsidered as a whole or piecemeal for such a candidate. We need people who can say, yes, we believe in what you're doing. We believe in self-determination. Then we can vote for you. If anybody comes out tomorrow to say, oh, I believe in self-determination, anybody contesting for any of the governorship positions, oh my goodness, we will not only vote for you, we will stay in the polling station to make sure that your votes are counted and you declare the winner. That's what we're looking for. Isn't it? Is that what we're looking for? Anything, we believe in democracy as well. Come out and tell us, I believe in self-determination. That's all, and we vote for you. Not the presidential election, though. Talking about the states. Come out and tell us you believe in what we are doing, that you want our land to be free. Even if you say you want to return us to 1963 Constitution, maybe we can know that perhaps you have something upstairs in your brain, not telling us about this unitary, federalist, unworkable, militaristic constitution drafted by Abu Bakr, where they mentioned Sharia. Was it 11 times? Was it 30-something times? And no mention of Christianity, no mention of Judaism, which incidentally is my ancient religion, older than any other religion in the world, for your information. We must say, therefore, that it is the real and reoccurring threat to the fairness of elections in Nigeria that constitutes one of the primary reasons that IPOB has chosen the path of boycotting elections. So, in as much as the boycott may not succeed in truncating the election in the short term, the long-term benefits are legion, I must tell you. The downside of a boycott is, of course, very obvious. When an election is boycotted, the incumbent is much more likely to win that election. Yet, the upside is that when a popular mass movement such as IPOB boycotts an election, it denies the government the legitimacy derived from the results of such election. That's enough for us, because we are principled. We are fighting on principle. People must understand that. That's enough for us, and that's enough for the international community that monitors this. If you doubt the potency of election boycotts, I want to consider the following. Mahatma Gandhi's India National Congress deployed successfully to end the British rule in India. New England in America, the blacks, they were allowed to vote, but they boycotted the polls because of other blacks elsewhere in America that were not allowed to vote, like themselves. We remember Joshua Nkomo's and Robert Mugabe's Patriotic Front. They refused to participate in Ian Smith's sham elections in Zimbabwe, and that helped to end the white minority rule in that very nation. Nelson Mandela's African National Congress boycotted the apartheid elections in South Africa, resulting in the recurring illegitimacy of the apartheid regime and its eventual fall and rise of the African National Congress to power. How about in Nigeria, the zoo? Awolowo's boycott of the 1964 elections contributed significantly to the fall of the First Republic. But Yoruba journalists, they won't remind you of that. Never, they won't. That there was a time a Yoruba man felt that Yorubas were being cheated and deployed election boycott. Yoruba media will never tell you. Never, they won't tell you that. The point of what I have been saying is very simple. The raging debate issuing from IPO's decision to boycott the 2019 election should not be about the pros and the cons. Rather, those that know that the boycott will hurt them should direct their energy to consideration of the political concessions that can be made to IPOB to persuade it to call off the boycott. We are reasonable people. We are boycotting the elections because you have not met our demands. If you're prepared to meet our very reasonable demands, then we call off the boycott. Very simple. Meet our demands. We call it off. This same Nigeria they're asking us to participate in the elections doesn't even know the meaning of separation of powers, because Nigeria is a backward Fulani enclave under neo-colonial influence. What I find mentally debilitating is our inability as a group of people to rise to the occasion and take back the power we have so freely for years vested in the hands of people who are not educated enough to hold high office. They call themselves elite. Before governor, 419. Ask anybody who knows him now. What was your job before you became governor? They tell you he was a 419. Ask anybody. And the same thing could happen in Imo State. Look at people running in Imo State. The same thing could happen there. The fact still remains that what happens in Nigeria is selection, not election. If not, why would Devil Mahi in PDP be campaigning for a murderous APC government that killed his own people? Why would Willie Obiano of Anambra State, a supposed Igbo man that Peter Obi put in power in Anambra State, be campaigning so viciously against the same Peter Obi, his mentor and his godfather? They say I am inflexible. I want you, some of you, to spend some time going through the antecedents of all these men that you call your leaders. You will be ashamed of yourself, not even them, you yourself, of what they have become. We know the all-powerful INEC is owned and run by Fulani cabal. The same way they want to change the Chief Justice, so should the matter go to the Supreme Court, Fulani will win again. Because Yoruba wants the presidency in 2023 by all means. Anything. Fulani, listen, Jubilee can kill everybody. Yoruba media will never talk about it because they want the presidency, because they hate you. They despise you. That is the truth. Only INEC announced results are considered valid, so all it takes for a candidate to win is to be in the good books of the Fulani cabal running Nigeria, and you're guaranteed success. Look at Edo State governorship elections. Look at Ekiti, look at Osun. Once they say you have won, you have won. The whole world was looking at the returning officer, the INEC officer. They called, before he announced the results, they called him on the phone, isn't it? And he changed. There and then he changed the result. delayed it, and then announced APC as the winner. Did anything happen? Have you heard of anything happening? So if Jubril rigs himself back into power, what do you think will happen? What do you think will happen? Nothing will happen. Then we would have wasted all our time, energy, and effort. If you want Jubril removed, you accede to my demands. Very simple. Referendum. Isn't it? Is it difficult? Referendum, simple. It doesn't matter how many votes you receive or how many supporters you have. The only thing that counts in the zoo is who Aso Rock wants to place in power. But we can, they should try to kill us, because OKC Bazi is not going back. Dave Umahi is not going back. Because they are the reason why, because if they're not there, can they invite Operation Battle Dance to come again? If we leave them there, they'll keep inviting them to keep coming. Keep coming. That is one of the valid arguments the proponents of voting has, which I recognize. I recognize that it is very obvious and very clear. I recognize that. It's a very clear point and a very valid one at that as well. Okay, Zibazo will not return. Neither will Dave Umahi. We will fight them to the very last person. INEC will now see that they cannot rig every election. We want to prove to Umahi that IPOB owns Ebonyi. We own it. We own that very place. You must understand that. Edo, Ekiti, and Osun states are forerunners of what will become the elections this very year. Everybody saw the blatant rigging and falsification of results, but as Africans, we don't care enough to want to correct these anomalies, but we expect economic and social development from people who are callous enough to subvert the electoral process. Simple common sense. Will it register? I doubt it very much. But we must continue. The issue of underage voting in Kanu hasn't been addressed. You have. I want it to be posted everywhere, please. Underage voting. Now I want to tell them why we will not vote. Underage voters in Kanu. Simple as that. Other thorny issues like allowing a so-called IDP residing in Niger, Chad, and Cameroon to vote in the presidential elections, but not in the governorship ones, has not been resolved. In fact, it has been resolved in favor of APC, because they'll just simply write the results and bring it in. All these are inbuilt fraud designed to deliver the government of Abba Kyari, ceremoniously headed by Jibril Aminu al-Sudani of Sudan. This is even as the issue of non-availability of WAEC results remains unresolved. The man doesn't even have Buhari's WAEC certificate. But there is a provision that says you must have it. There is none, but nobody gives a damn. It's Nigeria after all. What this demonstrates is that Nigeria has no civilized rule of conduct, be it in governance or in elections. What you have in Nigeria is a quasi-military dictatorship with a sprinkling of civilians in certain positions to give the veneer or to give the impression of democracy when it is anything but. What Nigeria is practicing is not democracy, because in any true democracy, the legislature will not tolerate the excesses of this Jubilee administration. Now, the question is, why don't people rise up in rebellion against this mess of a government? Could it be because we have all become spineless cowards? The fact remains that people have refused to rationalize and reason very properly. How do you expect us to vote in an election where the outcome is a foregone conclusion? Nepotism has been taken to a new height because the appointment of an all-exclusive Fulani INEC. This was the same INEC that sanctioned the nomination of Jubril Buhari, despite not having a verifiable WAEC certificate, which, for the avoidance of doubt, is a prerequisite for every candidate seeking the office of the President of Nigeria. It is shameful and very sad for any observer of what is happening to my land, Biafra, and especially Igbo people. If you are not mentally tough, you might be tempted to throw in the towel in surrender to Fulani hegemony, given the conduct of Igbo politicians like Dave Umahi. Admittedly, some politicians show the potential of being reliable. However, as one intelligent man put it, politicians are often victims of linear thinking and logic. IPOB has proved that there are other centers of influence and power in the East. Those hoping that Atiku will sweep Biafra land because of Obi factor is misguided, because almost every governor in the Southeast is working for Jubril Buhari. What should bother everyone is the emptiness of the mindless acquisition of those that claim that they are our representatives in Abuja or government houses in our land. After all the contracts Arthur Eze listed in his video, there is no major industry, no successful business, no university, no organized philanthropy linked to his name. What a shame. You know, even Soludo of all people is working for Jubril. Can you believe that? Our people must understand that we must understand that in 1929, our mothers in Aba drove away the colonial warrant chiefs imposed on us by the British. Nothing stops this generation from driving away these criminals from office. Our mothers did not do it through the ballot box. They did it the direct way. That is what we must do to all these governors placed in office by Fulani Caliphate to represent their interest and subjugate us. If you know anybody who is related to Onogen or from Cross River State or from Akwa Ibom, by which I mean Efiki, Bibio, and Angoron, you must now open your eyes very clearly and see what is in store for you. They did it to Ken Sarawiwa, and nobody said anything. They're not doing it to Onogen. Our only hope is Biafra. And on that, I stand till the day I die. I thank you all very much for listening. And now, please, Ikechukwu, I want you to give us the telephone numbers to call. This is Israel. +972 533 990485. I have not done this in very many years. I intend to do it today. And on Skype, we are on Biafra Rising Radio Biafra. Is that correct? Biafra Rising Radio Biafra. It's a mouthful, isn't it? The number once again is +979 533 990485 for anybody wishing to engage in a two-way conversation this evening. I am not Jubril that doesn't take live questions. I do, because I'm Nnamdi Kanu. I'm not dead yet. But Buhari is being represented by Jubril. Are you sure the lines are okay? Because it's rather unusual. I expect, because do you have, how about taking, the questions can also come via, I did ask Amake to make sure that the questions can also come via, are they coming? Through Facebook, yes. The questions can also come through Facebook. So Ikechukwu is here with me. He can read it out, and we will then be able to answer and address all your questions. We can address all your questions. The number once again is +972 533. Is it a Skype line or is it just a direct line? Is the first one a direct telephone number? Yes, +972. Have a call on the line, please. Take the call and find out what he's saying, and then let's hear.
Only see ekele dịrị Chukwu okike abịama. You are alive. You are alive. I know we'll meet again. After I saw you last in Amsterdam, I know that the journey will be like this. May Chukwu okike abịama bless you and protect you. Chukwu okike abịama have done it for me. Hearing your voice again, to be the first person to speak to you after almost 5 years now. Only a lot of things have happened.
Yes.
A lot of things have happened.
Yes.
But Okike. Well, Chukwu Okike Abiyama sanctioned you for this journey. That is why I followed you. That is why I heard your voice. Holy shit. A lot of people said,
it's okay.
It's okay. When they did not understand or foresee all the danger our people was buying and selling. They said they think we came here to make money. We said no. There is a lot of danger that are waiting for our people. But thank God, after all, Nnamdi Kanu is alive to answer question today. Well, I don't know what to say anymore. The deal has been done.
You did well.
Chukwu Okike Abiyama have done it. I'm okay. If I die today, I know that it makes me enough to me, because people say now, well, let it be. Thank God. Oh, hey, Biafra.
Oh, hey, Biafra. Thank you very much. Oh, hey, Biafra. Thank you very much. Thank you. He was too emotional to be coherent, but I did grasp a few things that he was saying. You know, there is a saying where I come from, a local adage. I don't know if you grew up in the village, because I grew up in the village. There is a saying that it's too beautiful, you don't know what to say. Now, people say all manner of things to dissuade you, to make you take your eye off the ball. You know, to begin to doubt yourself. There's nothing for these, they want relevance. And I said to them, if I want, I would have stopped Biafra agitation. What I want, 50 years of age, be young. Do you see how foolish they are? Ojukwu was ahead of state at the age of 33. I am in my 50s, and people are saying, oh, but they are young. Is it because I'm blessed by Elohim? Because I'm a can hear jaw. That is why I look young. I don't dabble in evil like some of you people do. We must remain on course until Biafra is restored. They have not seen anything like me before, and of course IPOB that I lead. The very finest movement on this very earth. As I said, if you are in IPOB, you are truly blessed. Look at your life and look at those who are outside IPOB and see the difference. The Chukwu Abiyama is with us. We've lost men, that is true, but because of their blood, Biafra will come. That is a sacrifice we all have to make in order to ensure that our restoration is certain. Please, the next caller, if we have any on the line, please. The Skype call? Yes, go ahead. I'm used to all this. I can take the calls. This is Radio Biafra. Please go ahead. Hello?
Hello?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes, hello. Go ahead, please.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Please go ahead.
Okay. My name is Dr. Kingsley. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well. Please proceed. I've said yes several times that I can hear you. Please go ahead.
My name is Dr. Kingsley. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. For the last time, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Director, is there two Biafrans or three Biafrans like you? I believe you actualize the sovereign state of Biafra.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
I'm very happy. I'm very happy with what you're doing. And in fact, you're giving us courage to sit up here as Biafrans.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm very, very motivated. I just want to ask you a few questions, if you will not mind.
Ask the questions, I'll answer you.
Okay, I want to know... election day for us, because personally I've decided I'm not going to cast my vote. I'm directing from you, our director, on that day. What is the plan to make sure that this is being actualized on that end? Hello.
Yes, I very much for your question. What we are going to do is that we are going to boycott elections, which means we are going to sit at home on that very day. We are not going to vote. That day will be declared a day to sit at home. We will not vote. It is a point of principle. People keep asking us, oh, what do we hope to achieve? It is registering our vote. Is registering our vote, our displeasure at what is happening in the zoo, and the whole world will know that we are in control of our land. They will know we're in control. If they want us to call off the boycott, they know what to do. Our demand is a very simple one. Very, very simple, just that they cannot see it. It's a very simple one. Give us a date for a referendum, then we vote. Without that, then no way.